ICE agents finally able to detain an illegal immigrant facing child rape charges after a group of activists stepped in to protect him weeks earlier. An ICE source telling Fox officers deal with this kind of interference almost every day. Fox News contributor Marc Thiessen is with me now. So you see that ICE agents finally got this person, Walter Roberto Vides-Ortiz, in custody. Yeah. But it took much longer than they expected it to because activists got in their way. Here's what Bill Melugin posted on X after he talked to this agent. He said the agent says the target, a child rapist, was on the streets 4 weeks longer than he should have been because activists interfered without having any clue who they were protecting, and they deal with this almost every day. I mean, it's just, you know, they don't ask, they don't say, hey, why are you here? They just go out there and do their thing.
Oh, because they're the enforcement arm of the sanctuary cities. They're the popular uprising in favor of sanctuary for these people. This guy came in 2016, and he has been sitting here for a decade, undetected, protected by sanctuary policies, and he's accused of child rape, and he was living near a school. And these people delayed his capture by a month. As soon as because they did that, he knew that they were after him. They might not have known until those people started blowing their whistles and interfering with ICE.
Yeah,
agents.
we just saw a video right there of these activists who were harassing the ICE agents as they were waiting in their car to conduct an undercover operation.
Why are local police not arresting them? Interfering with a law enforcement operation. If I were to interfere with, if it wasn't, let's say it wasn't an illegal migrant, it was just somebody who was accused of child rape, and I interfered with a police operation, I'd probably be arrested for impeding law enforcement. But because it's an illegal migrant, all of a sudden it's okay to do that. I think these people should be put in jail.
I mean, I don't know if they knew who they were protecting here. Bill Melugin suggested that the agent said they didn't even know who they were protecting. They just saw ICE agents and said, hey, let's go harass them.
Yeah, so they're useful idiots. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you know. If you're interfering, if there's somebody who just murdered somebody and the police are going after him and I trip them or stop them from carrying that person out, it doesn't matter if I knew that they were going after a murderer. I was interfering with a legitimate law enforcement operation. We've just got to have a policy of zero tolerance for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not excusing them by any means, so please don't take it that way. I'm just saying that it's just such a knee-jerk reaction every time they see Customs and Border Protection or ICE.
But where
it doesn't matter to them who they're going, who the ICE agents are going at.
But where's the local law enforcement in this? So, I mean, you think that the Boston police or this local community police might be concerned that an accused child rapist is living near a school, regardless of his immigration status? Why are they allowed? Normally, the way this would work, if there wasn't for sanctuary policies, is the ICE would cooperate with the local police. The local police would be in charge of keeping those people away while they carried around their operation. But because the local police have a sanctuary policy, they allow these people to interfere with the ICE agents. It's just insanity.
Yeah, everything's upside down. Want to ask you about Mahmoud Khalil because he's back in the news again. This is the guy, Columbia University, anti-Israel, pro-Palestine protester. Apparently, he's the star at the South by Southwest festival. He was asked by The Guardian publication at a roundtable why he refused to condemn Hamas in an interview that he did with another cable channel last July. Listen to what he said here.
It's very racist to ask a Palestinian this question just to validate their views, because I don't see them asking any Israeli or American politician about condemning all the killing that's happening, whether, in Lebanon and in Palestine and Iran, anywhere.
So it's racist, apparently, to ask a person why they're not condemning a terrorist group.
Not only is it not racist to ask that question, if you can't answer that question and you're here and you're coming into our country, you should not be allowed to come into our country. If you cannot condemn terrorism, if you cannot condemn Hamas, then you should not be invited to come here, and certainly not to study at Columbia. And one of the problems we have is that we have outsourced the visa process for student visas to the universities. They get to choose who comes in because they're doing the admissions process, and we just rubber stamp them, and that's got to change.
And remember what he told the New York Times about October the 7th. He says, to me, October 7th was a desperate attempt to tell the world that Palestinians are here, that Palestinians are part of the equation, just to break the cycle, to break that Palestinians are not being heard.
Well, hopefully he's not here for very much longer.
Well, we will see. Apparently they wanted him down at South by Southwest, but that's Austin. Keep it weird. Mark, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.